What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Friday, September 8th, 2017. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the busiest lady in business, Andrew Renee.
It's Friday. I was gonna say something else, and then
I feel like I always throw you when I pitch it to you. You're always like,
I feel like I try to think of something clever, and then I always fail in the
Andrew,
moment.
I complimented you privately this week. You're fantastic. You never have to think about it.
you
Don't
very
think about
much,
it. It's all
Greg.
natural. You know that. You're doing great. I've enjoyed working with you this week so much, from the show yesterday to the stream the other day. It's been really cool.
It's been lots of fun.
Now you're all businessed up today, I noticed.
Yes, well, isn't this the business show?
It is the business show. I was gonna say, where are you going after this?
I'm gonna go play the Xbox One X.
Me too.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna go see it together.
What an afternoon.
What an afternoon here in San Francisco for Kinda Funny. We'll be embargoed from talking about any of the stuff we see today, but yeah, going off to an Xbox One X event today. I'm excited to see what it's all
Yeah.
about, see what else they got to show us.
I've only gotten hands-on with it a couple of times, and I'm gonna be interested to see which version, if this is the final retail or not.
Yeah, you talked about it on Gamescast yesterday.
That's right.
Your trials and tribulations with it.
I'm gonna ask them about it.
Patreon.com/kindafunnygames.
Gonna do some hard-hitting journalism, folks.
YouTube.com/kindafunnygames Monday. For now, though, this is Kinda Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday on a variety of platforms. We run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about before jumping into your questions, comments, concerns, giving us perspectives. You're doing a whole bunch of stuff. Bad PSN names. Boy, howdy, do a lot of people want to yell us about LA Noire and microtransactions, as based off yesterday's show.
Yeah.
But we're happy to accept you all. Don't worry, let's talk about it. If you like the show, you can watch it live, twitch.tv/kindafunnygames as we record it. But the only way to interact with us is to set us straight when we get something wrong by going to kindafunny.com/you're wrong. Go there, tell us the fact we got wrong, what the right fact is, none of this editorializing, so we can read it at the end of the show and set the record straight for everybody watching later on youtube.com/kindafunnygames or listening on podcast services around the globe. For now, let's begin the show with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news. Good job, Cool Greg. I didn't think you were going to do it. I didn't know if you were up to the task. There you were there. 3 items on the Roper Report.
A baker's dozen.
Nailed it.
Nice job, cool, Greg.
Number 1, PlayStation has put up the top PSN downloads for August, both here in America and the EU. Different lists, which of course you'd expect, because in America, the top PlayStation 4 game download, Madden NFL 18.
Makes sense.
However, then it gets interesting.
Okay.
Number 2, Hellblade. Hellblade, of course, a smaller game, getting a whole bunch of buzz in the industry. People really enjoying it, going on from there. Then number 3, Sonic Mania. Then number 4, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. Then number 5, Uncharted: The Lost Legacy.
Did I not call that this game wasn't going to be number 1? I think I
you
called
might
that.
I think you might have said that,
Pretty sure I
Andrew.
called
Renee. I'm
that.
pretty sure hashtag Andrew was right. Yeah. Number 6, GTA 5. That never goes anywhere. Number 7, Friday the 13th, being strong. Number 8, Undertale. Number 9, Minecraft. Number 10, UFC 2. Then number 11, Crash Bandicoot. And number 12, Rocket League. A bunch of things you can't keep down. Over on PS3, of course, Grand Theft Auto 5 staying strong at number 1. Interestingly enough, on Vita, Undertale number 1. Over on PlayStation VR, Super Hot number 1, followed by Paranormal Activity, Lost Soul. However, over in the UK, number 1, Hellblade, again.
I mean, I heard nothing but excellent things. I've downloaded it. It's in my tray of games to play.
Yeah.
But now Destiny 2 is out.
Yeah, right behind Hellblade, number 2, Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. Number 3, Rainbow Six Siege. Number 4, Crash Bandicoot. Number 5, Horizon Zero Dawn. So some interesting shakeups there in terms of lists for how it would go. In terms of, I would think usually, and maybe I'm just being a bit pig-headed about it, I feel usually there's more parity in the lists in terms of, okay, things are moving around. And granted, things are moving around here, but Sonic Mania not charting up for PlayStation 4, at least in the top 5 over there. Horizon Zero Dawn creeping on there. Just an interesting little shakeup. But Charles J. wrote in to kindafunny.com/KFGD, just like you can. It says, "Greetings, Andrea and Greg. I want to hear your thoughts on the number 1 selling PlayStation Network game in the EU for August. It's not a game I hear a lot about now, but do you think Hellblade's price and information regarding the game's length helped make it number 1, surpassing Uncharted? And congratulations to Ninja Theory. What an accomplishment, Charles J." So you have it, but you haven't played it yet.
No, but the girls have talked about it on the show. You guys have talked about it here.
Yeah.
I've talked to some other people in the business about their experience playing it. And I think the overall consensus is it's a really kind of unique idea for a video game, that it's well executed, that the gameplay experience is very satisfying, and that the overall experience is a positive one.
Yeah.
And it's so rare that you get universal positive buzz on a game.
Sure.
I think the only like hiccup for this game was
The whole you die and lose your save. Your save gets deleted.
The bluff about permadeath,
yeah.
which is like, okay,
Yeah.
Why even make that comment? We don't need to go back into that discussion, but
Sure.
I think it's great to hear that word of mouth still has the ability to do positive things for games like this that maybe would have gone under the radar.
Yeah, I think it's cool to see a game that breaks the mold and does something different, right? I played just the first 30 or 45 minutes of Hellblade, thought it was interesting, but Jen, my wife, watched enough of it to get obsessed with it that the next day she played through it all, and then the next day she platinumed it. And she came on the Gamescast and gave a really great review of it, talking about how special it was and how beautiful it is and how the story is so interesting. And so to your question, Charles, does price and length play into this? I think 100%.
Absolutely.
I think, hey, here's a game that's doing something different that isn't just a numbered sequel, that isn't something you've seen a million times before. It's cheap, and even with like Destiny out there, right? You could devote an evening to this, a long evening, and get through it and be done with it. And that does speak to a lot of people, especially for a game that's unique. If you're going to do something completely different and shake up what people think of video games, because, you know, it was Marty and even Jen talking about it to an extent that this is really... It's not an action game. It's more of, hey, you guys are playing a, not glorified, but a different kind of walking sim where you're going through and getting a story. And yes, there is fighting here, but it's not the focus of this game.
Exactly.
It's fascinating. I'm glad to see a new idea do so well. What's your read on Uncharted charting number 5 and number 2, respectively, on US and UK, or North America and UK?
I mean, I think it speaks to, you know, my criticisms of that game.
Yeah.
I think it is a nice little game. I think that they oversold it.
Yeah.
And I think that some people maybe were ready for a different kind of experience. And it very much was like, you know, a spin-off of Uncharted 4, which is not bad. Uncharted 4 was a fantastic game.
Sure. I think it definitely is telling, though, of not even the criticism part of it, of the fact that, oh, it's just Uncharted DLC. You know what I mean? Like that's,
Yeah.
I think people who are seeing that digitally, at least, and that maybe we're going to find out it sold gangbusters at retail. I sincerely doubt that. I don't think it sold badly, but I don't think it's going to be like, oh, well, clearly the reason it charted 5 and 2 is because everybody's buying it. No, I don't think that's what's happening.
Yeah. I mean, it's no surprise to me that Madden is number 1. It's
Yeah.
consistently one of the top selling games every year in the US. And I am surprised, though, to see that Rainbow Six Siege got such a huge bump from their new piece of content that they put out.
Was there a sale too? Usually when I see an older game, it's because of new content or sale, and I didn't know if I missed something.
Possible.
Yeah.
Somebody write in at kindoffunny.com/you're
I can't
wrong.
remember if
Let us
that's
know
one of
if
the
it was
ones
on
we've
sale or
talked
not.
about where it's like, if you're PlayStation Plus, it's free for this weekend to get you hooked, to get you back, to keep you playing.
They did do a free weekend, I believe.
Okay.
One of those things where you get in and then all of your progress will carry over.
Yep.
And you get a discount on the game. I feel like we talked
I think
about
so,
that.
too. They all
but I
blend
can't
together.
remember if it was Rainbow Six or if that was For Honor.
There was a For Honor one, for sure.
Yeah.
The Rainbow Six one is the one I'm confused about, but it all runs together. But interesting, yeah. I would love to know internally at Naughty Dog if they were, if they steeled themselves for that, if they understood that it's going to be a hurdle for people to understand that this is something we believe in to this extent. Because like the reviews were amazing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're outliers of people who are like, oh, it's good, but it's just more Uncharted, you know what I mean? If they were ready for sales data on these kind of charts where they thought they would shake out.
I don't think Naughty Dog cares.
No, 100%.
I don't think first-party PlayStation cares how well their game sells at all.
But it's that thing where, yeah, you don't care, but
I mean,
want to. It's like, I don't care.
Of course, you want to see your game, you know, at the top, doing the best, having everybody praise it. I don't think anyone, you know, wants anything other than that.
Yeah,
but I don't think that they're over there like sweating bullets because they didn't break number 1 on PSN. Right?
Sure. They should be though. No, I'm kidding. Number 2, PUBG has crossed 1 million concurrents. It happened yesterday. It got just about, what is it? 1 million and then 28,540.
I'm trying to find the active link for this so I can see what's out right now.
Oh, interesting. Of course, the record was set by Dota 2 back in March 2016 at 1.3 million. So we are now within spitting distance. And I feel like every time we brought this up, it was, oh, that's cool. I wonder if they can do that. Oh, that's cool. They're getting closer to do that. Now it's just the inevitable. When are they going to do it? When is it going to finally cross over and destroy everything? Player unknown himself, was talking to gamesindustry.biz. There was a couple things that I found interesting in the article. First was the fact that they're using Sea of Thieves tech for their water now on the Xbox One version. And this is a quote. And another thing is when I was at the Xbox event last year talking to the Sea of Thieves guys, they said they love the game. They play it a lot, but your water. I mean, our water is not very good, but Rare has great water tech. They said we should share some knowledge. That's a great thing about being part of a network of studios. We can get the water tech essentially for free, and we can share stuff with them. That's just invaluable because their water is great. Having that would really finish off our world nicely. Then, GamesIndustry.biz, doing some real journalism, asks, it wasn't hard to find news stories online that took the Microsoft publishing deal as evidence that PUBG will never make it to a PlayStation platform. Would you like to reassure those people? Then, Mr. Green himself says, this is just, as I keep saying, our team size is just so limited at the moment. We can only focus on PC and Xbox. We just don't have the time, and Xbox has the preview program, which allows us to, like early access, develop the game with the players. That's where our focus is right now, and we just want to make the best version of the game for both of those platforms.
AKA Microsoft gave us money, so we're developing for them. And then maybe if PlayStation wants to give us money later on, we'll develop for them.
Yeah, or when the exclusivity deal from that came with the Microsoft money wears off, we'll put it over there too.
First thing, we talked about water tech in relationship to Destiny 2 on the Gamescast, so I love that he brought up that water tech is important.
But remember, as the kids in the YouTube chat were saying, Andrea, when we were live streaming,
it's not water,
it's methane
it's
or ethane or whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Still looks like garbage, but okay.
So that's cool. Also, we on this show, you and I talked about how it broke records on the concurrence, and I looked at it and it was half the numbers that Counter-Strike Global Offensive was doing. And I was like, I don't know. They have a long way to go to hit CSGO.
Yeah.
So wow.
Yeah.
Color me impressed. I had no idea they were going to more than double their concurrent numbers in weeks.
I know. And that's the thing about this where, we talked about this yesterday a little bit, right? Of will this go down as one of the greatest games of the generation or whatever was the question.
Yeah.
No, but this will go down as a game that is just doing insane numbers and is a movement and has legs that nobody I think saw coming in terms of sure it's fun, but it's going to dethrone Dota 2 as the most played game on Steam. That's crazy.
Look at the games that are on this list right now, the top records.
Sure.
So you don't have it in front of you. So the top records of all time for concurrence: Dota 2, PUBG, CSGO, Fallout 4, GTA 5, Payday 2, No Man's Sky, Sid Meier's Civilization 6, Left 4 Dead 2, and Terraria. Of all of those games, how many of them are Game of the Year games?
Yeah.
Two. Fallout 4 and Grand Theft Auto 5. That's it. I mean, you can say, that what you want about the rest of these. It doesn't matter if they're a critically amazing game as long as they're super fun to play with your friends.
That's all people care about.
Yeah.
They want it because games are about having fun and entertainment and jumping in.
And now that I've seen how fast they've grown, I have no doubt that they're going to hit Dota 2 now.
Yeah.
Because it's more accessible. Dota 2 is impossible to play. It takes hundreds of hours to just get your feet under you.
Yeah, exactly.
And you could play a couple of hours at night in PUBG and, get the basics of what's going on.
Oh, that's the thing is I'm terrible with mouse and keyboard, right? For first person shooters or just any game with mouse and keyboard. But I feel competitive enough in PUBG. I'm good at hiding. I'm good at this. I feel like what I did in my old H1Z1 games where I'd back into a bathroom and shut the door. If somebody's in the house, I'm like, I just got to shoot this one little box here. If I can get him, I got him. And I feel like I have a shot at that. Whereas Dota 2, I'm going to jump in and God bless you, Brian Albert and all the kids over at IGN who play that and love it, and Mitch Dyer. But it's I remember when Mitch was like, oh man, I played 15 hours and I hated it, but now I'm starting to understand it. I was like, I'm not going to do that.
15 hours is a lot of time to devote to something that you hate.
I could go platinum Hellblade.
I've done it before.
Which game did you play that you hated for 15 hours?
Do I have to admit that I hated the first 15 hours of Mass Effect Andromeda?
Wow.
But I liked the back half. The back 55
Once you
hours
powered
are
through
good.
it and got there?
Yeah.
Okay. I can live with that.
Yeah.
I'll accept it. So more power to PUBG. And it's still that craziness of it's still only starting. Mm-hmm. It's going to be this thing that they're going to finally put on an Xbox, and I'm going to jump on it there and play it there, and a bunch of other people are going to jump on it and drop their money on there, and we're going to be all over it.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
When it comes to PlayStation, I'm going to drop money on it there and be all over it and play it there.
And they priced it the right way. $29.99 is a nice price that you can get in, play, and then if you don't like it, you don't feel like you got burned plunking down, a bunch of money for a game that you don't like.
Here's my question for you, Andrea Renee. And this is just your own personal politics. Where do you think PUBG should be in the running for Game of the Year, or is the fact that it's early access
No, it
disqualify
should not be in the running.
Okay.
It's still early access.
Okay.
They're still changing a lot of things with the game, and this was a thing that came up, in Game of the Year discussions around Minecraft as well, because it was in beta for so long, and I just don't think it's the right thing to do to put it as a contender for Game of the Year. It's still in early access. That's the end of the discussion, really.
I would make the argument you could. It's a game. I'm paying for it. I'm playing it, right?
True.
And I'm getting broad with my definitions.
Right. Well, and maybe we need to, as an industry, look at the definition of how we have defined Game of the Year in the past, because these games as live services have only really started to become super popular in the last 2 years. And so maybe we all need to get together and go, hey, what does that criteria look like? Maybe we can talk about bringing it in. Because I know that there was a point where we had to talk about, well, do indie games, can they be considered for Game of the Year? And clearly, yes, they can. So,
because my concern would be this, is that I think PUBG needs to be celebrated for what it is, the time people are having with it and the enjoyment they're having. But if we're going to put it if we're going to hang the hat on it, it's early access. There's an asterisk next to it. It's not a full release. My concern would be that by the time in a year, I don't know when they plan on taking off the early access tag, but when they finally take that off, has the moment passed? Has the movement passed? Is it old news? Is it because right now it's a phenomenon. I can't believe how well it's doing. I can't believe that Tim is enjoying it the way he's enjoying it. I can't. It's fun. But it's that thing of once it becomes normal, isn't it almost into a Naughty Dog or Uncharted situation where that game came out and I expect it to be awesome and it is awesome, so it's less special to me than holy shit, this game from Ninja Theory explores mental health in a way I never expected out of a video game. That's the shiny new thing always gets the most attention. I don't know.
Precisely.
Something to think about. Number 3, final item on the Roper Report. Xbox Store has confirmed, or all but confirmed, a Destiny 2 DLC link.
Update. Bungie has confirmed.
Take it away.
Breaking news. So, Eric Osborne, the marketing director at Bungie, confirmed on Twitter, Curse of Osiris is not a leak. It's real. Continue.
Okay, so back to the IGN story where they were talking about the Curse of Osiris. There was a previous leak about this, and then the Xbox Store posted the listing. The listing, which does not specify a release date, includes the following list of additions to the base game. Explore Mercury and its mysterious infinite forest. New story missions and adventures. New themed weapons, armor, and gear to earn. New cooperative activities. New competitive multiplayer arenas. The description also confirms that you'll learn more about the mysterious Osiris, who we've previously heard about but never met. This is a quote. Destiny 2 Expansion 1, Curse of Osiris, continues your Guardian's journey with all new story missions and adventures set in a new destination, Mercury. Yawning, sorry. Journey through time and space to learn the secrets of Osiris, avert a dark future, and rebuild the ties between the legendary Warlock and his greatest student, Ikora Rey. Ooh. Journeying through time. That's cool. That's retcon some shit. Flashpoint. Points out that, there was all this stuff. And all of this correlates with the previous source. The only major detail missing here is the mention of the first game's lighthouse location becoming a new social hub. Given how much was correct in the original leak, we expect that to be true too.
And given that so many players never got to see the lighthouse, why not repurpose it?
I was going to say, I don't even know if I know what that is. Do I know what that is?
There's definitely no way you know what that is. No offense, sir.
No.
But it's something that you had to make a very concerted effort to get to, because Trials of Osiris was a PvP mini tournament type thing where it's only available on the weekends. It's 3v3.
Yeah.
And there's no respawning. So once you died, you had to either get revived by your teammate or you're dead.
Oh, wow.
And then it's last man standing wins.
Sure,
and then you have to, and then there's 9 different trials. So if you won the first round, you move to the second round, third round, etc. If you go undefeated for 9 rounds, you got to go to the lighthouse.
Gotcha.
It's a lot more complicated than that. There's
you're
tokens
boiling it down for a show. Yeah,
other things but that's the base.
Okay. Was it fun?
I played Trials of Osiris probably a total of 15 to 20 hours in my over 500 hours of Destiny.
Jeez, okay.
So it was not for me.
Yeah.
It's not the kind of competitive PvP that I enjoyed because it was just too serious, and too much strategy, and if you didn't go in with a fire team that you are really comfortable with and that you're really good at playing with, then you had no chance at winning. What's
your takeaway here from the Curse of Osiris DLC?
I'm excited to see more. I think adding a new location is great. I mean, technically, that's not new per se, but we didn't really get to explore any of Mercury because the only maps were in Crucible.
Gotcha.
There were no PvE areas in Mercury in the first game.
And then is this the one that would be in December? Isn't that the one they've teased before? Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm interested. I'm excited. We beat the story last night, you and I.
We did.
What did you think? No spoilers.
It was... I'm trying to think of the modifier word I want.
I understand.
It was cinematic in a way that I was happy to see.
Okay.
It felt really bombastic in a great way.
Really great set pieces there at the end. We did a few things where I was like, holy shit.
We just like kind of stopped to look around and go,
100%,
wow.
100%.
Yeah, very good. And now that I'm level 20, more things have unlocked. There's a lot more to do. I'm excited to dive into the Strike playlist and check everything out. And I've had several people after my rant about shaders yesterday reach out to me on Twitter and say, hey, it's not as bad as you think it is. And I'm like, we'll see.
We got some questions coming up about that, so don't worry your pretty little head about that just yet. All right, we're going to talk about shaders quite a bit here in a second. However, before that, Bungie confirmation. Bungie put up a blog post with the first 4 weeks here of contents confirmed as well. Of course, we already know what's everything happening here, but next week on Tuesday, Nightfall, the Inverted Spire. This pops, I guess. What is Nightfall? What is Nightfall?
So this is what I asked you about doing last night.
Right, yeah.
So the Nightfall is a strike, but it has heroic modifiers.
So it's way harder.
Yes.
Better rewards.
And if everybody in your fire team dies, you wipe and you have to start it over.
Okay. That sounds like fun. I want to play that.
Yes, it is. It's hard.
Yeah.
But it's fun.
Flashpoint Nessus is happening too. I know that's attached to trophies and stuff. I've been tinkering with the idea of platinum in it because I want to set some kind of what am I going to play for, Destiny? When am I going to leave? Because I'm enjoying myself so much right now. I enjoy you. I enjoy Andy. I enjoy hanging out with people. Gary Wood has not played with me. He made a big deal on Twitter about it, but he hasn't played. I digress. But I feel like, again, the trophy list attainable. You know what I mean? I think I'm tinkering with it. We'll see. Wednesday, Leviathan raid launches finally. Bring me up to speed on the raid. Do I need, because everybody's like, I'm gearing up for the raid. I just need great equipment, right? Or do I need to hit the final, is there a threshold? Or is there going to be a threshold?
Yes. So there's a minimum light level to enter the raid.
Okay.
So in order to get the maximum light level, you have to grind. That's part of Destiny, right?
Sure.
So you need to sync up with me and whoever else wants to play with us. And we just need to get into the Strike playlist and just
over and over
run them.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's how you get the most engram drops, and then you get better gear, and you kind of like tick your way up a couple light levels at a time.
Okay. I'm in. Friday, Trials of the Nine begins. I don't know what that is. What is that? Do you know what that is?
So Trials of Osiris was...
I feel like I'm your mom. I'm like reading your school list. I'm like, I don't know what this is. What is
it's okay. So Trials of Osiris was the weekend thing that I was just talking about in Destiny.
Oh, but this is
in
Trials
Destiny
of 9.
2,
Okay.
it's Trials of the Nine. So Zur is going to be coming back, but Zur isn't making his first appearance until it says September 15th.
Yeah.
So he's like the mysterious merchant who sells stuff. Yeah.
But not for real money, for Glimmer?
For Glimmer and for other things, you can trade. You were able to trade other pieces of currency for him.
Okay. And then it continues on week 3 on the next Tuesday. There's another Nightfall, another Flashpoint. Friday, there's another Trial. Zur's back as well.
Actually, I think he only sold stuff for strange coins.
Oh, okay.
Now that I think
that makes
about
sense.
it.
I remember people talking about that quite a
Yeah.
bit.
I thought for some reason you could trade motes of light for strange coins. I have to look it up. But yeah, the strange coins were the currency that Zur took.
Week 4, that Tuesday, another Nightfall, another Flashpoint, and then Leviathan Raid Guided Games beta begins. So is this something we're going to have to opt into to do because I think I'm going to skip that. No, I didn't. I thought there was another one in there. Anyways, this is the Guided Games beta stuff is the one they were talking about of like, hey, lower level person or person who doesn't know what's going on, join our group and we take you through it. Is that the idea? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how they're selecting people for the beta.
Yeah.
I can maybe reach out to Bungie and ask about that. If it's like hey, we're picking the people or you can opt in. Mm-hmm. I don't have those details.
Okay. And then Faction Rally that Tuesday as well. And then Friday the 29th, another Trials, and Zur is back once more. So that's fun. I'm excited. I like being in this world right now. I'm enjoying myself. I hope I stick around for a bit.
It's fresh.
It is. Andrea, all that
Greg.
stuff's cool that's coming to Destiny, but it's not out now. If I
true.
wanted to know what came to mom and grop shops, where would I go?
You would go to the official list of upcoming software across each and every platform as listed by the Kinda Funny Games Daily Show hosts each and every weekday.
Yeah. Killer Instinct has a 3.9 patch. This enables crossplay between Xbox One, Windows 10, and Steam. Enjoy that. Overcooked has a Switch patch that fixes the frame rate. And then Monster Hunter Stories is on 3DS, and Drive Girls is on Vita. I don't know what Drive Girls is, but it's on Vita. It's got girls in the title. I'm excited. No, I'm sure it's
Vita.
some weird, creepy game, because that's how that happens now with the visual novels and the whatnots. What do you got for me?
The Drive Girls are ready to hit the road. Play as 5 different Drive Girls and transform from superheroine to supercar and back again as you smash through wave after wave of mechanized bug enemies attacking your home of Sun Island.
You got screenshots? How do the screenshots look?
I got video.
Oh, we got video. Ooh, this is a basic looking game. Okay, we're racing on track. Yeah, okay. Here we go. I'm in. Crush the invasion. Why not? Oh, there we get out of the car and smashed it. Okay.
Looks a little Dynasty Warriors-y.
Yeah, right. Yeah, totally. A miso. I smiled at the camera when I said that. All right, well, that looks about, that's the kind of game I expect to be on the Vita right now in 2017. Time to jump into reader mail, but first I'm going to tell you it's brought to you by DraftKings. You've been waiting for this since February 6th. Football season is here, and there's no better way to get closer to the game you love than with DraftKings 1 week fantasy football.
How about them Chiefs?
Yeah, right? To celebrate, DraftKings is hosting a $100,000 contest this Sunday that is totally free to enter. And if you draft the perfect lineup, you can win $1 billion. Choose between public contests with big cash prizes or private contests where you can compete against a group of friends. DraftKings also has beginner and casual contests where you'll play against people of a similar skill level. Don't be like Andy Cortez. He joined a fantasy football league and then didn't even draft a team. Go to DraftKings.com now and use the promo code KINDAFUNNY to play in DraftKings free contest with $100,000 in total prizes this Sunday. And if you draft the perfect lineup, you can win $1 billion. That's promo code KINDAFUNNY, all one word, to play for your shot to win $1 billion this Sunday. This contest is totally free to enter. Why wouldn't you try? Wear your shoes. That's Greg adding that in editorial. DraftKings, the game inside the game. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for detail. All right. Starting with KV, who wrote in to kindafunny.com/KFGD and said, with the negative feedback on the Destiny 2 shader microtransaction model, for which I agree, it's shady. Also, light engrams. And is it engrams? Am I saying it wrong?
You're saying it right.
What do you? Okay.
Engrams?
I don't want to let you down.
No, you did good.
Okay, good. Which can be bought for silver are super shady since they offer stat buffs, which can impact competitive. We know. I'd like to highlight a game that I think does it correctly. Titanfall 2. All the DLC is cosmetic items for your pilot, Titan or weapon, and best of all, no blind boxes, no RNG, just a store where everything has a price, which you purchase and keep. Maybe it's just me, but I've ended up spending more money on this game than any other in terms of microtransactions because Respawn are upfront with their offerings and don't actively engage in shady Vegas/gambling style tactics to trick me into spending more than I want to. Thoughts?
So I'm a little split on this. I also like stores where I can buy the thing that I want.
Yep.
For example, in Paragon's store, and this is a free-to-play game, which makes it inherently different than a game that's a $60 game implementing microtransactions. But in their game, they have skins, specific skins that you can buy. So it's like this skin costs this much, this skin costs this much, and then you can get bundles and whatever. But then they also have loot boxes that will randomly drop different kinds of skins as well. So I have bought both things. I've bought the individual skins for the heroes that I play, and I've bought loot boxes because I'm like, maybe I'll get something fun, and I didn't want it, but now I guess I do because I didn't know that I wanted it.
For me, and this is in the same vein as a free-to-play game, so different but similar. Marvel Heroes Omega on PlayStation, right? When Spider-Gwen's costume came, it came as part of the Spider Box loot box, right? So I had currencies left over. They gave it to me, and I jumped in and was rolling for all these boxes and not getting it. And I bitched and moaned about it on the show, and then I finally got it on like my 30th box or whatever, right?
On your 30th box?
But yeah, well, again, it was free, so I'm just using coins I was given. So this isn't exactly one to one.
But imagine if you had to buy all those coins.
But to the credit of Marvel Heroes Omega, people wrote in and were like, you did it one way, but you understand there was a vendor to the other side that you could have given your marvelous essence to, and they had the costume. And I walked over there, and even though I wasn't getting the costume I wanted out of the loot boxes, it was giving me currency every time that I could eventually use to go over there and do that.
Okay,
and I was
good.
like, okay, that was an interesting workaround to how I did it as an idiot.
Yeah, I just think that there needs to be more developers who implement some kind of discarding system so that if you're spending all this money, not getting any of the things you want, you should be able to like dismantle or discard it for at least a fraction of the currency back.
Sure.
So that way you can eventually
get what you want.
Yeah. I think that would incentivize people to spend more money knowing, okay, well, if I spend $10 on, 1,000 coins and I buy 10 loot boxes, and I only got, one item that I wanted, but I got maybe like $2 of that $10 back in-game currency, not like in actual money.
Sure.
That it would incentivize you to maybe buy another pack and keep trying.
Yeah.
But,
I hear you.
But I don't know anybody that does that. If you guys out there know a game that you play that has that option, please write us at kindoffunny.com/KFGD. Let us know about it.
And so, shout out to Titanfall. I've never used their store. Personally, I would appreciate that. Like, that's what we're talking about, right? Where if I hit level 20, cool, I go over there to Eververse or whatever her name is, and she's just like, hey,
Tess,
here's all my crap. You want to buy it for real money? I'd be like, all right, cool. But I don't want it to be one-time use. We're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yes.
Matthew writes in on this loot box train and says, hey, Greg and Andrea. With more and more news seemingly every day about how loot boxes and microtransactions are infiltrating everything in the games industry, I can't help but feel we are nearing a breaking point. I hate loot boxes, not only because they gateway content I will never get, parentheses, I'm not falling for their tricks, so I'll never buy them, but mostly because I feel they may be psychologically damaging for a whole new generations of young gamers who may now form terrible habits that lead to gambling problems in the future. Do you think that any regulation will come about to address the issue? I have a feeling it will, parentheses, since it is basically gambling aimed at children, and I think game companies know this. And so they are trying quickly to shove in loot boxes as much as they can before the jig is up. Let me know your thoughts, Matthew.
He's not wrong in that a lot of people are trying to get in on this before
the tide turns.
Yeah, it's either the FTC or the FCC. I can't remember which one oversees.
FTC, because we have to do that whole thing like, hey, PlayStation sent us this thing for review, FTC.
Yeah. So that is going to happen eventually. But if you take China as an example, they have laws that say that these publishers have to show what the drop rates are. So they have to like list out like on their website or wherever in China, like what the drop rates for each of the different RNG boxes are. And so that way people know when they're going in to spend their money that, hey, these are the odds that I have of actually winning something. And I don't know why they don't do that here. I mean, you have to do that when you buy a lottery ticket or a scratch off or anything.
Well, I think you bring up the point, right, that right now it's the Wild West. And it is that thing of people are doing it and shoving in there and going with it. And, he's talking about like hurting generations and stuff like this, land and gambling. I'm not prepared to go out that far with it, but I think it comes back to anything else we do where you have to be vocal that you don't want this and that you don't want to spend your money on this. Matthew here, who's like, I'll never buy it. I'm not falling for it. You need to do that. And it can be a million different things where it can be a game by game situation, because in Marvel Heroes Omega, I'm getting other stuff out of those loot boxes that I'm able to use and do cool stuff with.
Do you think that's relevant to what we're talking about?
I'm just going to say what you're looking at. It's the Polygon article here that says Counter-Strike gambling scandal comes to an end with FTC settlement. Correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't the Counter-Strike problem here the fact that it wasn't they were gambling on Counter-Strike, it was the guy who had ownership of the site was encouraging people without disclosing that.
Correct.
So
But what it led to is it kind of opened the door for people to look at the gambling site itself and go, who's gambling on this site? How old are they?
That's
is there is there a way to age gate people from gambling on this site if they're under the age of 18 or 21, depending on which state you're in?
Yeah.
And I think it kind of like put a spotlight on the whole gambling kind of elephant in the room when it comes to video games because some of these sites, particularly for like Counter-Strike skins, kind of openly talk about gambling. The loot boxes in games don't. I mean, I've had, conversations with people at studios who are like, maybe our loot boxes are kind of designed to scratch that itch, who could say? I'm not taking a side, I don't know. And I'm not, and it is there, you're taking
this is going to sound so stupid. Can you Google the definition of gambling?
Sure.
Because I definitely think, yep, you're taking, when you buy a loot box and I want Spider-Gwen or we want a shader that looks like Mizzou's colors, as I know you all do. It's a gamble that you're going to get it. Correct.
Yes. So according to Merriam-Webster.com, the definition of gamble is 1A, to play a game for money or property, or B, to bet on an uncertain outcome. The second definition is to stake something on a contingency, to take a chance.
Because here's my counter argument to why this isn't gambling, and I think it's interesting you bring up the FTC, because I would have said to this, somebody can get involved. I was like, my thought would be no. We're going to self-regulate this. The market will speak. You're going to see what happens. Because to me, I think technically comparing it to gambling and like what we think of as gambling, poker, roulette, all this different stuff, I'm buying the loot box and hoping something's in it. And in the same way, then, if we're going to regulate this as gambling, what is different about this than going at the end of the supermarket, as I did as a kid all the time? I'm leaving and I see the little machine where you drop the 25 cents in and you roll and the little bubble comes down and you open it up, and I'm hoping it's going to be the Superman sticker or keychain, but fuck, it's Green Lantern, it's Wonder Woman. You know what I mean? And I keep putting in my 25 cents to try to get that Superman thing. Is that gambling?
I don't know.
Right?
Maybe.
And I don't expect you to have the answer, but like, I think as we pull back and separate more and more from this, don't get me wrong, it is like, oh man, this sucks.
I think the difference here is how much agency or how much you're able to affect the outcome, right? So like, I think whenever you talk about giveaways or sweepstakes, you always talk about chance. You have the chance to win.
Sure.
And like the word chance is such an important part of that. Like, do you have control? Will you actually win something someday? Like, what are the odds? And like, when you put your quarter in, there will be there's a finite amount of bubbles in that machine.
Capsule machines, that's what I was looking for.
So you could technically buy out the whole machine, which is, when you talk about gambling, is technically illegal. If you guys play pull tabs, where I'm from, there are pull tabs. You can't, it's illegal for you to buy out the whole box of pull tabs.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I mean, essentially what you could do is you could do the math for how many tabs are left, take out all that money and know that there's a winner left in there. Yeah. So if you buy them all, you're going to get the winner. That's illegal though. You can't do that. But I don't know. It's tough because the gambling laws in each state are different.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, the only reason I'm bringing this up is I think we, in quotes, I'm talking about Matthew, myself, the industry as a whole, are playing fast and loose with what the term gambling is. And I don't know what, in the eyes of the government, gambling actually is. Right. Because here, the argument would be, like when you gamble and you're like, I put $50 on black, I'm trying to win the money, right? Here, I'm buying a crate and hoping something's in it.
Right.
Which isn't the exact same, but similar in terms of I'm taking a gamble on what's going to be in that, especially when I want something very specific.
This is confusing.
It is, but it's fascinating. What a good conversation. Kind of Funny Games Daily. Like, subscribe, share. Joe Dewey writes in to kindoffunny.com/KFGD and says, Greg and Andrea, in your discussion about the Destiny 2 shader controversy, it seems as if it became more about microtransactions than actual shaders. What's wrong with Destiny's microtransactions? They are used to fund Destiny's live team. We are given bright engrams in-game to use at Eververse. You're not forced to use microtransactions. All shaders aren't exclusive to Eververse. Yet it seems like game journalism has taken and made it all about microtransactions, when some of the community issue is shaders being consumable items. Now, the new shader system has its pros and cons, but I don't think it's so bad or broken that Bungie should have to change the system. I love that we can use shaders on just about everything, yet it kind of sucks that shaders are a one-time use thing, but it makes sense that you can't paint something, strip the paint off it, and reuse it. Thank you for everything you guys do.
So this is interesting. There's kind of a lot to unpack here.
100%. Just like there is in this argument that happened yesterday, all right?
Yeah. So I agree with him that microtransactions are used to help fund Destiny's live team. That's true. Destiny also, in Destiny 2, are paying for expansions, or charge you for expansions, which also help to fund the live team. That being said, I have bought silver and I'm going to plan to buy silver specifically for emotes. But the problem is when I bought silver in Destiny, I could buy the specific emote that I wanted. You could say, I want that emote, or if I was feeling like, taking a chance, I could buy a blind box and then there was a chance of an emote and some other stuff being in the box. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. The reason I got so mad about it yesterday and the reason I'm still kind of upset is Bungie themselves set a precedent for how shaders are going to work in the game over multiple years. And now, without communicating it to the widespread audience at large, and the people have said, well, yes, they did mention this, but I didn't see it like as a feature in a preview anywhere in any of the Destiny 2 coverage that I looked at.
But it's also, with all due respect to that, and I understand that, that's not how this has to work. And you don't have to be up on everything to have an opinion about it when it launches.
I think if they were going to change something as dramatic as making shaders consumable, that they would have maybe messaged it a little bit earlier. And I don't think that you should be penalized because you change your mind about the color that you want your character to be on one day.
Yeah.
Now, if shaders had always been single use, I think this would be a different conversation altogether. But they weren't. You had this kiosk that you could go to and you could select through them and figure out which ones weren't in your collection. Then if you're like, oh, that Crucible shader looks cool, I guess I got to go play the Crucible to try to get it. Like that was cool. I like that. And I like that the only part I liked about Luke Smith's statement yesterday was that he was like, we want to encourage people to go do these other activities to get the shaders. And I was like, great. But then I do it and then I have to go do it again. It's not easy to go in and do the raid multiple times, for example, or some of these Nightfall strikes aren't easy to do multiple times, especially if you're not part of a clan or have a bunch of friends that play actively. So that's why it's a little bit more nuanced than what Joe is saying here.
And I mean, for me, as someone who's, not Miss Destiny like yourself and doesn't have a history to that effect. I mean, I love changing my characters. Let's get that aside. I've always been pro microtransactions done well. I like giving money to developers of the games I enjoy. You know what I mean? It's the same reason I still pay, I think it's $150 every year to DC Universe Online, because I want my character and everything. So if I ever go back to Taylor Swift, it's there. But also because fuck, that game's awesome and I had way too many hours in it to ignore. And it's the same thing I talk about where, we get a lot of games for free for review, but if I really like your game, I'll go buy your season pass while I'm playing, so I'm giving you something there. It's the same thing here where, I get that microtransactions are funding Destiny's live team, keeping the servers going, encouraging them to make another expansion, another game, all these different things. I honestly would like to give them more money. I don't want to buy silver to roll on boxes to hope I get a shader I don't hate that I'm then going to lose. I'd much rather walk up to the shader store and buy the shader I want. And even then, let's say they were still single use, I'd hate it, but I'd at least do it once or twice. Yeah. Whereas right now, I'm not gonna fucking roll on these things and go for this box and worry about this shit. Like I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna lose it. I'm not gonna get the one I want. Like Taylor Swift's right now, like I put up a screenshot on Twitter and I was like, man, I'm actually pretty happy with how she looks right now, right? And then in the final cutscene of the game last night, she walked up because I'd been switching shit in fights. I was like, oh dear, it was like all mismatched, like a garbage person. I just climbed out of a trash heap to come fight these people. I was like, all right, but that's how it's going to be, I guess. That's how it's going to be. Justin writes in to kindoffunny.com/KFGD and says, hey, Greg and Andrea. This morning, Harvey Smith of Arcane Studios posted a picture on Instagram of a couple pages of game design notes on an old notepad with the caption, emotional day at Arcane Studios, with Raph packing up his desk, headed towards new adventures. Seen here, the Arthur notebook. I don't know, it's a deep cut on Arcane that I can't help you with. This isn't news. Raphael Colatino, co-founder of Arcane. Colantonio. Co-founder of Arcane in 1999, announced his leave a couple of months ago, but after seeing this Insta post, it really hits home with me as a huge Dishonored fan, especially when there's been dozens of articles from game sites floating around about the death of the immersive sim, since we've recently seen the contrast of highly critical admiration and low sales with Dishonored 2, Prey, and even Deus Ex Mankind Divided. What are your all thoughts on this foreseen collapse of an entire genre? I personally don't see it happening. Dishonored, Death of the Outsider releases in just a couple of weeks, and from all the gameplay I've seen, I am certain it will earn extreme praise from games media, not to mention settle into a hardcore speedrunning community on YouTube and Twitch. I think, or at least I hope, that Bethesda is the right publisher to say, hey, we are financially equipped to release these high-quality experiences, games that remind us of why we got into game development, games we want to play, and we know gamers want to play. They might not hit the sales figures we would like, but we want people to associate Bethesda with a specific standard of excellence. Am I wrong? If not, then I'd imagine ideas for Dishonored 3 are already being tossed around. I hope all the Kind of Funny best friends are willing to send their love, support, and respect to Arcane Studios, especially to Raphael, a true innovator and influencer in the modern video game industry. A lot to unpack here too.
Yes.
My first takeaway from the question is the fact that the industry runs in cycles. Things wax and wane all the time. They come and go. This isn't the death of these games you like. And are they called immersive sims? That's not what I ever thought they would have been called.
I would
call
them
it
that.
sneaky stealth games. You know what I mean?
They're stealth action adventure game.
And I think that, even before this, where Thief came out and it was underwhelming and things of that effect. I think we're in a place right now where the industry doesn't want those as a whole, as a mainstream thing. And maybe it's that they just don't want them as a AAA experience. I'm always driven back to when Double Fine was, for all intents and purposes, on the ropes. And we're like, we want to make an adventure game. And Tim Schafer put up this video on Kickstarter, right? And it was like, we want to make an adventure game. None of the big publishers will fund an adventure game, but I think there's an audience for adventure games. And that changed Double Fine's reputation. You jump the years, removed from that. They're publishing everybody else's games. They have all these quirky games coming out. They're fucking Fig campaigns and Instagram. It's all over the place. I feel like that's where we're at with this genre too, where it's like, all right, maybe the mainstream isn't looking for it, but I don't think that means it's going to go away. It's just going to change. It's going to be other innovators who need to grab it.
I mean, there's cycles, right?
Yeah.
Genres come and go in popularity, but they don't die altogether. There's just too many people making games these days.
Yeah.
Oh, look who decided to show up to work.
Andy Cortez just walked in, everybody. He's only, what? 2 hours late for the morning show. 2 hours that he was supposed to co-host. And this is Games Daily. You're not on this one.
It was daylight savings time sort of thing.
Oh, my apologies. Yeah, you're running on Central Time, of course. You thought Kevin, you sunk your clock to Kevin's Hawaii clock. Exactly. Gotcha. My apologies.
But at least he showered. You smell nice, Andy. So we're talking about these games. So here's the difference, though, between this type of game and what Double Fine did.
Sure.
So this game is a lot more intensive in its scope of production.
Sure.
More expensive, you need more people, and they take longer to make. So I don't know how well, let's use a hypothetical and say, what if Bethesda wasn't insanely rich and they needed to go to Kickstarter to be like, we want to make Dishonored 3, but we can't do it without your help.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what that number would look like that they would have to crowdfund in order to be able to make this game. I mean, look at Shenmue 3. They only crowdfunded a small sliver of their actual total budget.
Yeah.
They just wanted to prove to PlayStation that they could
wanted this thing.
That they could do it to show hey, now PlayStation, you give us the real money.
Yeah. There's a game, and this isn't me just shamelessly shilling. I'm just shilling with shame. There's a great Gamescast one-on-one between me and Pete Hines. And Pete, obviously,
of course,
right?
Yeah.
Pete's the fucking best.
He's
Pete
wonderful.
Hey, there's no bullshit here. You ask me a question, I'll give you the answer that I can give you. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna dress it up or do anything else.
Right.
I asked about this and what it was Fallout 4 a success to them, and how do they keep thinking, why are they coming back to Dishonored when it didn't do that and didn't set the world on fire? And he was very much to what you're saying, Justin, of we want to make games we believe in that we think are cool and da da da. That said, I don't think Dishonored 3 is gonna happen. I don't think you're getting another shot at that. I think that they definitely liked Dishonored enough that they wanted to do it again, and they did it again. And again, it's a business where you look at it all right, still didn't set the world on fire, but we made something we're proud of. This was a cool thing. Let's move on. Let's try something else and move on. And I think that's what you'll see. That's what you've seen with Deus Ex, right? Where Deus Ex as a franchise isn't dead. Deus Ex will be back one day. But right now it's all right, you guys stop and let's start working on Marvel games. let's do a Tomb Raider thing, or let's get everybody involved in some way, shape, or form with all the rumors that are going on up there. And same thing even with Prey, where it's Prey came out and again, critically acclaimed, and I started it and it just didn't hit for me, so I stopped. And I think a lot of people didn't give it a shot, and it's sad but cool. But Bethesda is that studio that's going to sit there and try. I was surprised to see Prey come back, because they were also the guys who canceled Prey 2 when Prey 2 was coming along. And we're you know what? No, this isn't it.
Yeah, Prey is a unique case because Prey, the game that came out this year, is nothing like
Prey 2. No,
yeah.
Or the original, or the Prey that did get released.
They don't even really feel connected. But I really enjoyed Prey. I had some gripes about it because you gotta have some gripes, but
gotta have opinions, man.
I finished it. I got to the final mission, and they have a very interesting post-credit scene, and it seems like they set it up for it to come back. So,
yeah. And it's that thing of maybe that's their Dishonored. Maybe that's Dishonored 1 again. Whereas I don't think we'll get a Dishonored 3 because we got a Dishonored 2, and maybe you get a Prey 2 because you got a Prey 1 that people did like. Yeah. People enjoyed it, and I didn't hate it. I was oh, this isn't what I'm feeling right now, and then got distracted by some other shiny
Probably
thing.
Too scary for you.
Probably too scary. I actually found whatever they call them, the little starfish, the little black starfish. I was oh, they're kind of cute. I'd buy
mimics?
I'd buy a plush of this.
Yeah,
Little
you
fuzzy.
think they're cute because they probably haven't jumped on your face yet.
Yeah, I know. They do that. They do that. Andrea, how do I want to start wrapping this show up? I got a couple questions here. I want to go in here.
Everyone wants to talk about Destiny.
Everybody does want to talk about Destiny. Thank goodness. Thank God, you know? All right, let's do that then. We'll go to 86 Zaps. Here's the final question on this week's Kind of Funny Games Daily. Hey, Greg and Andrea. Long time, first time. With the release of Destiny 2 this week, it seems that the entire gaming community and most of my mates, have jumped in and are enjoying it. But here's the thing. I've heard you guys talk about open world fatigue in games and how that affects some people. But are we already at the point of live service game fatigue? I enjoyed vanilla Destiny and others like Rainbow Six Siege and Overwatch, but now I just feel worn out by all the constantly changing loot farming, microtransaction filled online experiences. Maybe I'm in the minority here, but as someone who traditionally likes story-based single-player games, just wanted to hear your thoughts on it. I'm sorry, maybe he's in the minority here as someone who traditionally likes story-based single-player games, period. Just want to hear your thoughts on it. Thank you for the show. P.S. Please, Lord Shuhei, let us change our names. Here's the thing is I don't know if you're in the minority. We had another question too about games passing you by. There's genres you just don't care about. Is a single-player story horror, just like yourself. What works for me and why I'm in love with Destiny is the fact that I really don't play any other live services games at the moment. It was very much, Colin and I used to talk about this all the time, and when we were leading up to, I think, the release of the Division, or maybe release of the Division of just like, how many of these games can there be? But then there's the argument of like, well, okay, Fran is obsessed with Destiny and the Division, and I was obsessed with Division and other games. And so it ebbs and flows which game you're in and which community you're in, and you leave Destiny for a while, but you come back and do something else. It's, for me, similar to Telltale games, where I think it's rare that you find somebody who plays every Telltale game, and if they do, they might be like, man, I'm burning out on this, how this all works. But when you only play Batman or Walking Dead or something, you know, I'm skipping Guardians, like, it's still a fresh experience. It's the same reason when we were gearing up for Destiny 2, and I was like, I'm actually excited for this. So many best friends were like, come play Destiny 1 with us. We're trying to, and I'm like, no, I want to come in here starving for Destiny. I don't want to play a bunch of Destiny and come in here and be like, oh, okay, it's more of the same, whatever. I want to be ready for it. I want to be excited for it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think there's room for lots of live service games because there's millions of gamers.
Yeah.
And everyone's, preferences for how they like to play online are different. And as you mentioned, it ebbs and flows. So like we'll, go all in on Destiny 2 right now. But then in like, even like mid-October and November, we're kind of, maybe set it aside for a little while, focus on all of the amazing games coming out in like those 2 months. And then in December, when, the Curse of Osiris comes out, we'll jump right back in and get active again. And that's the beauty of live games. You can kind of step away and then come back to it when you want to.
Yeah, and hopefully catch up and do it. But it's just, it's what speaks to you, I think, is the big thing, right? Of like, there's so many online or live service games that just are in genres I don't care about. But like right now, if they're like, hey, Division 2 drops, or hey, here's this giant expansion for Division that changes it, I would stop playing Destiny and run to that, because that's a world I want to exist in even more than I exist in Destiny.
Right. Well, it comes down to how solid is the gameplay.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times in this business, we have to kind of talk about the balance between good story and good mechanics.
Yeah.
And for me, it always comes back to mechanics. If the story is kind of so-so, you'll give that a pass that the mechanics are excellent and it's fun to play and it's fun to do over and over and over again. Why I have so many hundreds of hours into Paragon. Are you leaving? Bye.
Bye, Jean-Vive Saint-Ange. Start playing Destiny.
We'll teach you. We'll show you the ways.
See, my concern is like she's going to get into it and then either, because she's going to go home and play now before it. I'm afraid she's going to get into it and either, number one, not enjoy it because no one's there playing with her, because that's like such an experience for it.
Well, you have to do the first like hour by yourself anyway.
I know, but if I feel like if I was there, even just playing my own character, you know what I mean? I'd be like, oh, that's cool. Explain why that's cool.
She's a smart lady. She could figure it out.
No, don't try to turn this around on me. This isn't mansplaining. I'm just telling you I know how she plays games. Or number two, she's gonna get really into it, and then I'm gonna have to re-roll a new character tonight when I'm level like 18 and 3/4. I'm like, just let me get to 20. Let me keep going. I want to keep going.
Yeah. Why would you need to do that?
Well, my problem, even if I come down and play with her, I'm earning XP, right? But am I earning?
Always,
but am I earning? Is it shitty XP or am I getting good?
No,
XP?
because here's what happens in Destiny 2. When you are a high light level, let's say you've maxed out at level 20, your light level will still keep increasing, because when you go play with somebody like Jen, who's maybe like level 2 or 3, you'll still get engram drops from the enemies that you kill, and those engrams will decode at your current light level or above.
Okay. Okay.
They're not gonna like there's like the window of how low the light level goes is not that much lower than what you're currently at. I mean, I don't know what the exact stats are, and if somebody does know what the exact stats are,
kindoffunny.com/you're wrong. You're running out of time though. We're getting
I think it's like maybe like 10 to 15 light level below you is the lowest you'll get.
Okay.
So you don't need to worry about it.
It's still worth doing.
Absolutely worth it.
Well, because
And you'll help her level up faster.
Okay.
Shepherd her through it. Sherpa her. Whatever word you want to use.
Yeah. Live service games. Just don't play them all. You'll be fine. Time to squad up, ladies and gentlemen. This is where one of you goes to kindoffunny.com/KFGD. You tell me your name, your username, your platform, and your game of choice, and why you need friends. I read it here. The best friends find you. Everybody has a good time. Zach McCoy writes in. He's playing on PlayStation 4. His PSN name is McCoy 97. MCCOY 97. McCoy 97 says, "Hey guys, so I recently decided to pick up Destiny, but as a college student who works full time, I don't have too much time to dump into the game. I'm hoping some best friends would be willing to play casually with me when I have the time and not just leave me behind because I'm a low level. Thanks guys. McCoy 97. Find him, Sherpa him through, help him." Andrea, when people watch this show live on Twitch, we ask them to go to kindoffunny.com/you're wrong. Tell us what we screwed up to set the record straight before we publish the show on YouTube and podcast services. What did we fuck up today?
Well, first up, Rainbow Six Siege was part of the Ubisoft publisher sale on PSN the first week of August, and it had a free weekend from August 24th through the 27th. You mentioned both of those being possible, so I guess you guys nailed it.
Thank you.
Andrea, you are wrong.
Oh, no.
Every developer cares how their games do. How can you even say that? Do you care if more enjoy your content? What? Of course you do. Okay, I see what you're saying there. Take it back.
Take it back.
Okay. Developers, yes. The marketing guys, maybe not.
Really? I would think marketers care more than the developers.
I don't.
Really? Okay.
We could debate that later.
I mean, it's no way. There's no way to debate because it's going to be different every person.
I think the people who created it are inherently always going to care more than some guy who it's just part of his deck of games that he has to sell.
Here's my thing, and publisher to publisher, right? I think that if this is similar to what he just brought up, or he or she brought up with the YouTube views, right, or your content, is the fact that if I'm creating the content and my audience is liking it and the reviewers are liking it, I'm like, yeah, I fucking nailed it, right? Whereas I think marketers care less about that. Well, they care about the Metacritic, but then also the number of the games sold, right? To say like, hey, I mean, we marketed the game so well, we sold them, we're number one. I think it would be more likely to see a marketing person at PlayStation be like, yeah, we're the number one game on PSN, right? Versus Neil Druckmann be like, yeah, I got this beard, number one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree with you.
Okay, good.
I take it back.
Okay, calm down, everybody. Jeez. We're going to see it. Let's be happy. We're going to play Xbox. Calm down.
When talking about Uncharted Lost Legacy, the rankings probably don't take into consideration the people that own this from the season pass. Oh, that's a very good point. That being said, it is very possible it would have charted a lot higher.
You look that up because I don't know. It's top PSN downloads. It's not. They don't call it top PSN sales.
That's also a fair point.
I'm on it. I'm looking at. I'm gonna try to. You're wrong. You're wrong.
Okay. Andrea, it barely counts, but technically there was PvE content on Mercury in Destiny 1. The Mercury Crucible map is where you earned the Sunbreaker subclass. I'm going to counter and say that that's not really... Well, okay, it technically is PvE. It's just not co-op. You have to do it by yourself. You can't take your fire team.
So back to this.
So you won me on a technicality. Good job.
The PlayStation Blogcast Zone, Justin Massingo, is saying, welcome back, August 2nd. Madden NFL 18 was the most downloaded game on PlayStation 4, followed by Hellblade, Sonic, and they're not saying it sold the most.
Most downloaded.
Most downloaded.
Okay.
So that's counting the number of times the game was downloaded, we assume.
Yes.
I can't call Sean Layden right now and get an answer on that, but I'll look into it for you.
Okay. Andrea, in Hearthstone, you can use in-game gold or real money to buy card packs. Any unwanted or duplicate cards can be turned into dust, and dust can be used to craft any card you want. The rates of return vary 10 to 25%. Packs, he put some numbers. Packs give 5 cards, 4 commons, 1 rare, with the chance for any card to be an epic, 1 in 5. Legendary, 1 in 20. Commons yield 5 dust and cost 50 to craft. Rares yield... this is
we don't need to get in the weeds like that, but that's cool.
If you get a golden variant, it will yield full... Okay, so if you get a golden variant of an unwanted card, it will yield the full dust value.
Okay.
So that's good
cool.
to know.
That's good to know.
Good job, Hearthstone. What? Blizzard killing it again?
I was
Not
going to say,
surprised.
maybe that division of Activision should talk to the other division of Activision, talk to Bungie.
Maybe they should. More interesting information about the Chinese loot box transparency law. So I don't know if this counts as a you're wrong.
No, it's just more interesting. I don't mind this kind of editorializing chiming in. If it's going to enhance the show, make Cool Greg feel better.
So it says, Blizzard will start selling Overwatch's in-game currency to its Chinese players in an apparent response to new laws around the transparency of microtransactions. So this is coming from GameIndustry.biz.
Okay.
According to a post on Blizzard's Chinese forums, the option to purchase Overwatch credits for hard currency will be introduced in version 1.12. There are 5 payment options ranging from 5 credits for 12 yen, $1.77, up to all of which come with free loot boxes. 2 in the case of this one tier. In addition to the free loot boxes is the key point here. As loot boxes are the principal microtransaction in Overwatch for other territories around the world. In China, though, a recent change in the law means that games need to include percentage rates for items distributed through randomized systems like the loot boxes. The law, which came into effect on May 1st, requires online publishers to, quote, promptly publicly announce information about the name, property, content, quantity, and draw forge probability of all virtual items and services, end quote. Of this kind of either the game's official website or a website dedicated to that purpose, another clause stated that a public record of the random draw results by customers should be made publicly available for 90 days. Blizzard's new approach, which is specifically for China, gets around the issue by ostensibly giving away the loot boxes for free while selling amounts of an in-game currency normally acquired through those same loot boxes and by swapping duplicate items. So this is a little confusing.
I'm super confused.
But you glazed over about 2 paragraphs ago.
I didn't think it would be that much information.
But basically, like, if you want the information, it's there for you specifically in China. But of course, the publishers are trying to figure out every way they can get around it as possible. I will say I haven't heard anybody that I know that is an active Overwatch player complain about the loot box system in Overwatch.
Okay.
So, but if you are right into kindoffunny.com/KFGD, and
we'll talk about Monday.
Tim and Greg can talk about it on Monday.
Tim's the host on Monday, everybody. That's it?
One last thing. Dishonored, Deus Ex, etc. have been classed as immersive sims elsewhere in the past, according to a Wikipedia article.
Cool. I'm not familiar with that term, but thank you for letting me know, writer. New segment called Fuck You, Greg. Read an angry Greg voice. This is Jimmy Nutgo. Jimmy Nutgo writes in and says, God damn it, Greg Miller. You talk about how much you love Telltale games, even the shitty ones like Game of Thrones and the last 2 seasons of Walking Dead. Greg interjecting. Never said I liked Game of Thrones, actually. That's your
He 100% said he did not like it.
I said I played episode 1. I was like, no, thank you. And you said you struggled through it, but it wasn't that great.
Yeah.
Last 2 seasons of Walking Dead have not been shitty. This last one, meh. But like, well, not even meh. It just was like, well, this wasn't really pushing the story I cared about, but I enjoyed it. Fuck you. And you talk about how much of a masterpiece this The Last of Us is, but you shit on L.A. Noire. Who asked for this? I did. And so many others did. Even people I know who don't like Rockstar type games actually fell in love with this game. Sure, it's stupid that whenever I doubt someone, Cole just goes and screams at him. Sure, in the first 4 cases of the game, the faces react too weird to your questions. But god damn it gets better. The setting is amazing. Some of the cases, especially the later ones, made me feel depressed and sad. Something The Last of Us tried and failed miserably at. Fuck you. Because the cases get extremely real and it's horrifying. So fuck you, Greg Miller, and whoever is next to them. First off, it's whoever is next to you, because I'm reading it clearly, you idiot.
Wait, what did I do?
Well, because you're just here. You're just getting blasted. You didn't like it either, but I'm taking it all. And then Jimmy goes, P.S. I love you guys. I love you guys' vids, and you seem like cool people. Jimmy Nutgo. Well, a spirited rant. Many people wrote in like, hey, what the fuck? I love L.A. Noire. More power to you. Andrea and I did not. Jimmy Nutgo's rant was spirited and brought to you by Lisa. Whether you're upgrading your home, your health, or your state of mind, there's one surprising item that belongs on your shopping list. Yep, a mattress. With over 10,000 5-star reviews, the Lisa mattress is in a league of its own when it comes to quality, innovation, and making a difference. The Lisa mattress is 100% American-made, delivered in a compressed box to your door. It's thoughtfully crafted with high-quality materials to create what Lisa calls their universal adaptive feel. Its 3 foam layers provide support, pressure, relief, and cooling that adapts to all body shape, sizes, and sleeping styles. What, you feel on one side of the mattress? Your partner doesn't? That's great. Avoid awkward showrooms. The Lisa mattress compares to other brands that cost thousands more, but because they don't believe in all those unnecessary extras, Lisa's prices start at just $525. For an extra $100 off, go to www.lisa.com/kindafunny and enter the promo code kindafunny, all one word. That's Lisa, LEESA.com/kindafunny, promo code kindafunny. I can tell you, Joey Noelle took her Lisa mattress home last night. She threw away her old one. She slept on this one, and she seems pretty well rested today. She's in a good mood. Is it the mattress? I don't know. What I'm going to say it is Lisa. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Kinda Funny Games Daily. Remember, each and every weekday on a variety of platforms, we run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about before jumping into your questions, giving you some perspective, and having a good time. If you like all that, please subscribe to youtube.com/kindafunnygames. Support us on all of our Patreons. Listen to the podcast. Watch it on Twitch. Enjoy your goddamn weekend. Play some Destiny. Andrew Renee, it's been a pleasure. Let's run out of here and go play Xbox X.
Okay.
All right. Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you. And I know it's Xbox One X. Shut up, everybody.